Welcome back to Let's Make It Better. We recently added a floor to our carport, Versatube building, garage addition, whatever you want to call it. And it looks pretty swell in here. That's the good news. The bad news is, well, if you turn around, the swellness ends. All of this junk that I pulled out of here needs to find a home. And when it was in here before, it was slowly just getting stacked on itself. And we're not gonna reverse that process. So we have got to spend some time and figure out how to get our tools set up and get our parts and pieces and other things organized on walls, shelves, something, so that we don't end up just filling this place with things that are supposed to be usable but are unreachable. And we've got to do it by just sticking to the basics. Let's make this better. So let's talk about our goals and limitations. We have got some tools that I want to have accessible at all times, like actually ready to use. So I've got a chop saw, a metal chop saw. Back here we have a metal bandsaw, and we have a drill press. So those are gonna get some kind of hero location on one wall. I know that much. I'm gonna try to keep this contained, and we're not gonna build new ways to hold them. We're just gonna space things out today. This also needs to hold basically our own mini hardware store. Plumbing supplies, electrical supplies, hardware, paint supplies, drywall supplies, everything that you collect by being a homeowner of a, well, house that needs constant love and attention. I've also learned that anything I pile on itself will stay there forever until someone basically shoves my arm behind my back and makes me cry, "Uncle," and then I unstack it. So we have to have no piles. Now the other thing is, I'm drawn to junk old cars. Like, they're like sad puppies or something. They just follow me home and I think I can fix them and make them better. It just takes forever and 1,000 parts. So we got a lot of parts and pieces going on. So we need to get those things up on the wall so that at the very least, they're visible and accessible and not piled in boxes because, well, that's just how it needs to be. The short and simple version is, I've never been that organized. It's not my personality. I'm not Marie Caliendo, or I don't have to think about what brings me joy. I think about what has utility. And I'm not necessarily a hoarder. Having the stuff that saves me a trip to the store when things break is what I'm all about. So here's what we're gonna try to do. We're gonna put OSB up on this wall because I can't stand pegboards because they're expensive and useless, and every time I try to use them, I knock the thingies out. So I'm gonna show you how I use OSB instead of pegboard, OSB and drywall screws. And on this wall, we're gonna figure out how to put all of our tools from one side to the other, keep them usable, and then I hate bins. But I've got a shelf that fits bins, and it's the best thing I've got for plumbing supplies. And right now, we are not about reinventing the wheel. We are about just getting the wheel back on the, just it can't be out there anymore, man. All right, here's the plan, Stans. I went ahead and just made these little helper buddies and clamped them on just to get my OSB at the height that I wanted. It happens to be 1'9", but you make it whatever you need to make it. I'm gonna pre-drill and use drywall screws to attach this. I'm going into metal studs. I could use self-tappers, but I don't wanna be here all day. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and cheat this guy over right where I want it, drill a hole, put a screw in it. Right now, nothing is holding it but gravity. There we go. There we go, moving on. We're working with 8-foot material on 5-foot centers. So all I'm gonna do is cut a stud. It'll go right behind here and catch the seam. Keeping it real simple. All right, there we go. We're making 3, because I know we're gonna need 3. All right, there we go. We're screwed in halfway on center. We've got it's basically just in compression, sitting on the ground. The screws into the metal studs are what's gonna hold it against the wall. This is really just to catch that edge and any weight sort of stuck in the middle here. So we're just gonna repeat this process, moving our helper things working straight down the line. All right, we got that done in a hurry. Right. All right, gang, not too shabby for an afternoon. Let's go through some of what we got going on, because we can translate this for you, I think, or you can translate this for you. All right, so all of this stuff, except for that grill, which weighs 2,800 pounds, is just drywall screws and zip ties, or just plain old drywall screws. I like this method because I can move it constantly. I'm not locked into anything. And this is something that, like, the organizationally challenged like me are never told growing up, which is organization's just a process. It's an evolution. It is constantly ongoing. Like, if you sit and try to figure out where you're going to put everything and contemplate and work it all out, you're never going to put anything anywhere. Here we have all of my basic cutting tools, wood and metal out here, and I have enough room to bring material in for now. And if not, they're on wheels, so I can slide them out or take them out there so that I can use them. Assuming you're a homeowner of some kind, or just a regular DIY person, you're going to ultimately become your own hardware store, because you are going to buy the wrong thing a lot. Now, that thing will still be useful, and you're not going to want to go back and return it. So I hate bins, but it's the best solution I have so far. I've got electrical, I got plumbing, I got hardware, paint and drywall. They're labeled with masking tape. I can slide them out, put them on the floor, root through for whatever I want. And I have, you know, the electrical, for example, has everything in it. Outlets, fuses, breaker. Basically, it's all just piled in a big bin, whatever the category is, and I can pull the bin out, drop it on the ground, root through it, find what I need, put it back. I don't like this system because I can't see what's in there, so clear bins would have been better. But still, the fact that I have to take it out, put it on the ground, take the lid off, and all of that jazz before I can even get into what I need stinks. But I don't have a better solution, but it's a work in progress. This whole OSB back wall thing, just pretend it's not car parts if that's not what you're into. Bicycles or tools or lawn care stuff or crocheting equipment, whatever your jam is. But the flexibility of just some drywall screws, and you don't feel like you're going to screw anything up when it's OSB. It's like, talk about non-permanence. These just need to be out of my way so I don't trip over them. They will all become part of this eventually, and then I will have open wall space to do something else with at some point. This also resulted in a bit of a mini purge. And what I mean by that is, you know, around here at Let's Make It Better, we don't ask ourselves if things that we have bring us joy, because, well, that's a deep philosophical question, and that could take all afternoon to contemplate over just one item. Instead, decide, do you want the empty space more than you want the thing? Great. If you want the thing, find a place for it and put it there, and try to put like things with it so that maybe you can find them later. That's it. Just keep going. You can always change it later if it doesn't function where you put it. This is not ideal, but it will function enough to help us build one that is more ideal. Eyes on the prize. We got it back in here, got everything set up so it can function. That's it. Moved on. So I've put a lot of work into this space lately, but I think it's actually really paying off. We have power, we have lights, we have a floor so we can walk and it's not on gravel. We have 2 cars parked in here. I have all of the big parts for this car on the wall. Just turn that into whatever your hobby is, and you have that on the wall. We now have power to this side of the building, so we can start to use these tools to build a better version of whatever we need next. Basically, we've gotten everything to the next level. I'm actually pretty excited to do projects in here, not so much projects about here, if that makes any sense. We did not break our backs and we did not break the bank, but we've improved this place a ton. If you've got an unfinished garage, basement, workshop of any kind, I hope 1 or 2 of these things is actually kind of useful to you. If you've got some better ideas to some of the things that I'm dealing with, you know, particularly that, or some really great plans for a compact workbench, because we'll be building one of those soon, put it down in the comments. I'm curious. Anyway, good luck on your projects out there. We'll see you next time on Let's Make It Better.